An entitled Karen demands that we open up the pool for her and her kids, stating that the pool should still be open despite showing up 2 minutes before closing. And no matter how hard I try to explain things to her, she simply will not take no for an answer. Here's what happened. So like a good number of hotels these days, my hotel has a pool. It is on the smaller side and requires a separate key to enter, which you can check out at the desk for 1 hour time slots. And like most hotels, it closes at about 10 o'clock p.m. Since my afternoon shift goes until 11 p.m., if someone wants to use the pool sometime between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., I am pretty reasonable and can close it down later. The point is, if you want to use the pool when it is near closing time, I don't mind keeping it open just a little bit longer, so long as you are reasonable and pleasant. But the person in this story was not pleasant, and they were definitely not reasonable. This past week, during one of my shifts, it was nearing 10 p.m., so I was getting ready to close down the pool and the fitness center. It wasn't exactly 10 o'clock p.m., but it was no earlier than 9:55 p.m. when I started going towards the pool to close it down. Now, nobody was in it, nor did anybody use it that day. I entered with my master key, checked for dirty towels, and went towards the pool maintenance closet to go ahead and turn the light off. And this all took maybe 2 to 3 minutes in total. As I shut the door, which might I add is right next to the entrance door, I get startled by a mother with her 3 children standing at the pool door knocking on the glass. I open the door with the mindset that they needed something from the front desk or they needed a room. So I ask this lady, "Hi there, is there something I can help you with?" This entitled Karen then looks at me and says, "We went to go swimming. Can you please let us in?" I look at her and I say, "I'm sorry, but the pool is closed tonight. It reopens at 8:30 in the morning." "Come on, really? Why are you closing it early?" The clock in the pool did state 9:58 p.m. So she is technically correct, but really, are you kidding? So as a side note, one of the many reasons we close the pool at 10 o'clock p.m. is because the front desk needs to mop the entire pool floor at 10 o'clock. That in itself can take about 15 minutes on average, and sometimes it can take even longer, depending on how much water splashes all over the place. We also disinfect all the chairs, the tables, as well as anything that might be a hot spot, especially since we live in a post-COVID world. So we have to take that stuff more seriously. Add on several other chores, including handling some money from the drawer and any check-ins that haven't arrived, and you can be swamped for at least an hour. So I looked at this entitled Karen and I said, again, the pool closes at 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock now. It will reopen in the morning. But before I could continue, this entitled Karen went off on me in a way that I really did not expect. She looks at me in the eyes and says, "Seriously? We've been standing here for 10 minutes. By the time you got here, we would have been done." And when she said this, I thought to myself, no, you definitely wouldn't have been done. I literally walked into the pool room no more than 3 minutes before you showed up, and I didn't have any line of sight on the front door for maybe 30 seconds. So I had to explain again that I started closing the pool room no earlier than 9:55, and I didn't see anybody there. She said they went down an hour ago, but couldn't get in. And I'm honestly surprised they missed the big "See front desk for pool entry" sign on the door. After going back and forth for quite a while, I was just completely done. So I made the decision that no, I was not going to let them in. The door was closed and locked. So I said one more time that the pool closes at 10. Please come back in the morning. I then walked back to my desk, not wanting to deal with this lady for another second. She started saying some of her usual upset Karen stuff. "I came here to swim and now I can't. I'm a platinum member, and these other hotels in the area would definitely let me swim." She went on and on and on, but I just ignored her, and I went back to the desk where she followed me to the desk. She eventually finally gave up when she knew she wasn't going to get her way, and I wasn't going to argue back. I just simply wasn't going to do it. The next morning, this entitled Karen went down to the front desk, and lo and behold, she gave them a hard time as well. And as a result, this entitled Karen got on our do not rent list, stating that we cannot accommodate her. So hopefully her causing a fuss over this pool was worth it, because she won't be allowed back to our hotel anytime soon. That must be super frustrating as an employee at that hotel. Having to deal with someone literally coming into the pool 2 minutes before it's closing is honestly just like really weird and just super rude. Like, I'm sure there's a sign somewhere that says, "Hey, the pool closes at 10 o'clock. You gotta go." You can't come in 2 minutes before it's closing and expect to get any kind of time in to swim, because you can guarantee the second that entitled Karen got in there, she was not gonna leave anytime soon with her kids. Like, she would have been there at least 30 to 40 minutes. And that is definitely not fair for the employees in the slightest. And why would this lady act so crazy towards having the pool open? Like, if she really did go down there an hour earlier and took the time to read that she could have gotten the key to go into the pool itself, she could have avoided all this trouble in the first place. So hopefully the entitled Karen of this story is happy with the way she acted, because she got banned from the hotel and she won't ever have to worry about that pool ever again. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. I went with my girlfriend to her birthday party at a club, and after I found her dancing with other guys, I felt incredibly disrespected, and now I don't know what to do. So I've been dating my girlfriend for 5 months now. We have gotten pretty serious to the point where we met each other's family and kids. My family adores her and vice versa. Her birthday was December 30th, and we spent her her entire birthday together. She had organized her birthday party a week later at this club. It was understood that I would come along and go to this party. She also invited some of her closest friends. I am a DJ, so the nightlife is whatever to me. The only time I go out to club nowadays is when I have to DJ myself. She, on the other hand, does like to go out with her friends. I have no problem with her going out and having a good time. I just ask her to make sure that she texts me to let me know that she makes it home safe. In the beginning, she did it, but as time went on, it started not happening. I get on her about it on more than 3 occasions. So now it's a kind of situation where sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't. She just blames it on the drinks, and she forgets when she gets home and just passes out. The night of the party arrives and everything is going okay. We have a section, and we all chipped in to get my girlfriend 2 bottles. We're recording videos, we're taking pictures, all the works, just to make her feel special. At some point, she leaves the section with her homegirls to go dance on the dance floor. I'm okay just sitting in the section, looking at the videos and the pictures I took of my girlfriend. I can see her from where I was, and she was just having a good time. She came back to the section and stayed for a little bit. As the night progressed, she started getting more and more intoxicated, of course. The club started getting more crowded, and the energy was high. She left the section to go dance on the outside. Then, out of nowhere, these random guys came by the section. They had a bottle and a bucket, and I didn't really care, but it was just a bit weird. As my girlfriend was coming back to the section, she recognized one of the guys. She gave him a big hug, and then started dancing with him right in my face. I couldn't believe my eyes, so I was kind of stuck in a way. I'm watching her throw it back on the guy, her dress riding up, so I get up from my seat, I go to her and I say, I'm going to the car. She then follows me as I'm walking towards the front door. I told her I feel disrespected, and I really don't feel like being here anymore. Thinking back, I knew it was selfish of me to want to leave at her birthday party, because I was more or so making it about my feelings rather than having a good time altogether. I then tell her that I want to leave, and I'm asking her if she wants to come along. She then said, if you're leaving now, then no. So I just walk out the front door going to my car. When I got to my car, I was like, I can't just leave her here like that. So I go back into the club. When I go back to the section, she is dancing with the same guy I had a problem with the first time. And at this point, I'm absolutely enraged. So I then grab her by the arm and just said, let's go. Needless to say, we got in the car and we left her party. On the drive home, I was telling her how disrespected I felt and that I would never do something like that to her ever. When I'm in a relationship, no other girl is going to ever touch me. That's how I am. She, on the other hand, doesn't see anything wrong with dancing with different guy friends. The next day, when she finally woke up from her intoxicated sleep, we argued about the whole situation and how I was feeling the whole day. She didn't see anything wrong with it because she was saying she was trying to act normal around her friends and not be acting all uptight because I was there. She told me I was overreacting. So it honestly begs the question, and it's the reason why I'm writing this. Am I overreacting? Do I have a right to feel disrespected? I know she loves me, but sometimes I just find it hard to trust her when she is out and about in the nightlife because I worry about her a lot. She tells me where she goes, but when she is out, it's like she totally forgets to even let me know when she made it home. In contrast, whenever I'm out, I always let her know when I leave, as well as when I'm there and when I'm about to leave. It's honestly like second nature to me, but it's not so much for her. She used to be a dancer when we met. She's since then allegedly stopped, but I know it's just a matter of time before she goes back to it. I honestly don't believe that she will stop, and I really don't know what to do. This is a really tricky situation because on one hand, yeah, she's dancing with other guys, and this isn't just normal dancing. It sounds like this is like dancing, where things are getting a little hot and heavy, and it would seem like this is a little inappropriate considering the fact that she is in a relationship with you. But on the other end of it, you actually forced her out of the bar and dragged her to the car. Like, that seems super inappropriate in my opinion, and that should not have happened. So if anything, you're both kind of at fault. I think you really should have used your words here and not literally dragged her out of her party. Like, you could have easily said, hey, I really don't want you dancing with this guy. This makes me uncomfortable. I don't like this. But to just straight up drag her into the car and say, no, we are leaving, seems a little bit extreme in my opinion. Like, it would be different if maybe there was something really bad going on and you were trying to protect her from some kind of danger or some kind of creep that was up on her and she didn't like it or something like that. But unfortunately, that doesn't sound like that happened. If anything, you just kind of saw red and decided, okay, time to drag you to the car. Like, that's not okay in my opinion. So hopefully you two can figure this out. Because yes, in my opinion, the way she was acting at this club was incredibly immature and very inappropriate considering the fact that she's in a relationship, but also in that same breath, you should not have dragged her out of the car. And hopefully for the sake of your relationship, you can try and find some kind of middle ground so that both of you can understand where the other person is coming from. My entitled mom is incredibly narcissistic, and because of that and the way she treats me and my family, I have decided to go no contact, as I simply am no longer going to put up with her garbage. So my mother is an entitled narcissist. She complains about strangers, friends, family, and neighbors, stating that they all have no class, which is unclassy in itself if we want to to be technical. I mean, come on. I was the goldenish child growing up. If only I was more pretty, popular, outgoing, and athletic. I grew up knowing I was never good enough and that I should just know how to do things like cooking and cleaning without being taught, and I should just know how to read minds. When my parents got a divorce when I was a teenager, she used me as her therapist and friend, and I needed to agree to be this type of person or else I would get the silent treatment and she would withhold her love from me. She got remarried soon after the divorce to a man with one daughter and a son, and I very quickly became old news. My stepsister was the new golden child, and she was a girly girl. I was not allowed to decorate the room that we shared every other weekend that she was over, even though it was the only one I had, and she had a room at her mom's place. I very quickly became the scapegoat of the family, and I simply couldn't do anything right. When I surprised her with a clean house and dinner made because she was working late, I was not given a thank you, but rather just a list of all the things I should know to do better, and that it will now be expected of me from now on. I would not have minded chores, and even asked for chores when I was younger, but would have liked to at least feel appreciated. A thank you at the very least would have done it. I was expected to not like my dad and only love her. She would find out when dad would go on vacation and not be within calling range, and then intentionally tell me that he probably won't pick up the phone because he doesn't actually love me. And this way of treating me was just so toxic. These types of incidents continued for a long time until I became a mother myself and was beginning to catch her in her lies. I will tell her what I expect and what my rules are as a parent, and for her to respect my boundaries. Did she agree to do that? Well, yes. But did she lie and then would just do whatever she wanted anyways? Yes as well. She would tell my son she will cry when he leaves, so he would cry thinking he is responsible for her feelings. He is the only one out of my 3 boys she does this to, just to try and mess with him. I finally went no contact, and I have family members now asking and questioning my motives. It's all so frustrating, and I've honestly just simply had it. I see this being set up now that I'm on the outside looking in. I know how far it's gotten, and the way she acts has just gone too far, and I should have done something earlier. But when you grow up like this and you think it's normal, it really does take therapy to help you see that no, this is not normal. And I definitely take full responsibility for not catching on sooner. That's definitely on me. As of right now, my son really doesn't like me because I'm keeping him away from her. He's only 6. He doesn't understand. But we've only been no contact with her. You can see the pattern from moving person to person though. She goes to the new shiny plaything to try and manipulate them and discard them once they get someone else to replace it. I'm honestly trying to protect my son, and he really doesn't understand why. But hopefully I can raise him to be his own person and make his own choice and not be codependent and not put up with other people's terrible behavior. Even if he hates me for the rest of his life, if he becomes a stable human being that demands his boundaries be respected and he himself will respect other people's boundaries, then I will be happy. So hopefully this goes well, and hopefully I can get away from my weird entitled mother. Yeah, your mom sounds like a piece of work. She definitely does not sound like she's good with kids, and it looks like she's trying to treat your son the same way she treated you when you were younger. So with that in mind, I really don't blame you for going no contact, because it sounds like she doesn't respect your boundaries. And I think you have it right where you're choosing to take care of your son instead of trying to maintain contact with your entitled narcissistic mother. My friend came out to me as a furry, and as a result, I ended up laughing at him. But now he's mad at me and he won't accept my genuine apology, and I seriously don't know what to do. So me and my friend George, that's not his real name, met 5 years ago while attending the same acting class, and we very quickly became best friends. I'm a 30-year-old female and George is 27. We have a lot of common interests, such as D&D, gaming, reading. It's the regular stuff that a bunch of nerds would enjoy when they hang out. Most of all, we bonded because we had difficult lives. George lost his father when he was 7, and he was seriously bullied during childhood. He lives in a pretty conservative family that had a hard time accepting him as a gay man. Now he has a degree, a good job in STEM, and generally things are better for him. But he has some healing to do, which is something I need to do as well. And something else we have in common is using jokes as a coping mechanism. So our dialogues are always full of playful insults. We prank each other, and we often pretend to have some kind of argument about things. So last Sunday, he calls me telling me that he has something really serious to tell me, and I was a bit worried. We went out for some drinks, and he looks me in the eyes and tells me, completely serious too by the way, that he has a confession to make. He said, "I have realized that I am a furry." And when he said this, he was completely serious. And as I told you before, we like to prank each other a lot. So my first reaction was to laugh, like really, really hard. Then I noticed after a while that he was silent. So I stopped and I asked him if he was joking. He told me, "What do you think?" and then got up and just left. And he was the one that drove us over here. I called him several times and he did not answer. So I ended up having to walk home instead. The next day, he finally answers the phone and starts yelling at me that the situation gave him PTSD from when he came out to his family. He even said that this was even worse because I was laughing at him. When I could finally speak to him, I told him, "I'm so sorry that I hurt you, but but you can't compare you being gay with being a furry. And he told me the same thing. He called me so many terrible names and refused to meet with me. He told me he was done with me as a friend. So now I really feel bad for George, and I feel awful that he was hurt by my laughing at him. But I honestly think that being gay and dressing like an animal are experiences that can't be compared with one another. Either way, I want to apologize and try and fix our relationship. What should I do? So honestly, from the outside looking in, I don't think you're in the wrong here. It sounds like your relationship with this individual really was full of pranks and laughs. So it is not out of the question for you to assume that they were joking when they looked you in the eyes and said that they are a furry. Like if somebody said that to me and it's somebody that I've known for a long time and we have the kind of relationship where we can prank one another as well as tell jokes and all this other stuff, I would personally also take this as some kind of joke. So if anything, the way your friend is acting is really inappropriate. I mean, they are literally getting upset over something so minor. Like seriously, if this person really is that good of a friend, they could have been like, hey, I'm sorry for freaking out. This really is just a big deal in my life and it's something I'm trying to come to grips with. And that probably would have just solved everything. Like that would have been the end of the problem. But this individual decided to take it a step further and act completely irrational in my opinion. And sure, this might have been a disaster waiting to happen, especially since a lot of your friendship with this individual is based on having jokes one with another. So maybe having some kind of safe word associated with serious topics would have been helpful in some kind of way for him to properly articulate like, hey, this is serious. This isn't a joke. I'm just going to tell you something that's important to me. And then you can just kind of go from there. Because honestly, if you want to say you're a furry, go for it. But I don't think it's appropriate to not allow somebody the chance to apologize, especially when the way it was probably explained and approached really could have been seen as funny. So I would not worry about this in the slightest. The most you can do is just try to apologize and try and become friends again if they even want that. But based on what you've described, it really sounds like they just don't want to be friends with you anymore. And although that's unfortunate, it might be a blessing in disguise, because freaking out this intensely over something like this, in my opinion, seems like an overreaction. And if he seriously is not going to take your genuine apology, as well as you trying to make amends of some kind, then you can let that be your answer and try and move on with your life. My girlfriend is furious with me after I texted my ex-girlfriend, and now I truly don't know what to do. So here's the situation I found myself in. A woman by the name of Kelsey, that's not her real name, was with me for 3 years, and then a further 2 years off and on. We split up when I started dating my current girlfriend by the name of Lauren, also not her real name, and this was in the middle of last year. By my own admission, Kelsey was my best friend, and I really struggled to let her go, despite the fact that I did end things with her, and treated her like she was expendable when we were together. Kelsey and I went no contact in September, because she refused to respect Lauren. Before that, we spoke a couple of times a week at most. She told me pretty directly that I don't get to dictate how she feels about my girlfriend, especially after what I did, and because of that, she'll talk about me, my girlfriend, and our relationship any which way that she wants, while also explaining that I don't have to keep talking to her. So after she said that, I just didn't. Now, before anyone comments, the reason I can remember the direct quote is because it's in a text message. I sent her a birthday message, which was a point of contention between Lauren and myself, but we settled that and tried to move past it. I came into the bedroom last night to find Lauren, who is normally a calm and very happy person, nearly vibrating with anger. I asked her what was wrong, and she revealed that she'd been snooping through my phone and found text messages and calls to Kelsey. I told my girlfriend honestly that I was just keeping Kelsey in the know. I let her know that our Great Dane had passed away, because I felt like she deserved at least that much. She was very close to the dog, and when we broke up, she cried, because she was sad that she would never see him again. Lauren was seethed about how inappropriate it was, and that it was none of Kelsey's business, and then began to yell at me and berate me for making her look incompetent. She then revealed that she read my message to Kelsey, asking for her thoughts and advice on how to deal with members of my extended family treating Lauren like garbage, because when I had stepped in, they all just ignored me. I told her that I had done this because Kelsey has a lot of experience when it comes to dealing with my family members, and these are people who didn't know how to get in line. I also told her that I wasn't making her look any type of way, given that she had barely been mentioned. All things considered, she raged at me for nearly an hour. She said that her main issue is the fact that I won't just block Kelsey, which I've said I'm not going to do because I'm not a 21-year-old kid going through girls like candy, and Kelsey deserves more respect than that. This morning, I woke up to text messages from Lauren's two best friends, both of them calling me a jerk, as well as a variety of other names. But I honestly don't think I've done anything wrong here. I know I probably need to fix this, but I don't believe that blocking Kelsey is the answer here. I think it's petty and childish, but even with that in consideration, I truly don't know what to do. There's a lot to unpack here, to be completely honest. I think the reaction from your girlfriend is both a little bit overboard as well as kind of justified. She's clearly freaked out that you're talking to your ex again, who you went no contact with because she wouldn't respect you or your girlfriend. And it also sounds like you did kind of treat your ex-girlfriend like garbage. I mean, you said it yourself yourself. When you two were together, you treated her as if she was expendable, and that's not fair for her in the slightest. So I can completely understand why your girlfriend is suddenly discovering that you're contacting your ex-girlfriend again. Like, hopefully you can see why that would make her so upset. But also, there's the context of, hey, the dog died, and you're just trying to let your ex-girlfriend know about it, as she really did care about that dog. So the way your girlfriend is acting is really inappropriate. She's almost reacting as if you are cheating on her in some way, but based on what you've described, it really doesn't sound like that's what's going on. So hopefully this all gets worked out, because this seems like a very sticky situation all around, and I think both parties are at fault to some degree. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.